Well, first of all, I am resigning from the DNC so that I can support Bernie Sanders for president. I'd like to tell you why. As a veteran and as a soldier, I've seen firsthand the true cost of war. I served in a medical unit during my first deployment, where every single day I saw firsthand the very high human cost of that war. I see it in my friends who now, a decade after we've come home, are still struggling to get out of a black hole.
Good morning, everybody. Echo. All right, get rid of the echo. I caught it quick this time. Good morning, it's February 28th, and that was Tulsi Gabbard saying she's leaving the DNC to support Bernie Sanders. And as soon as Scott comes back in and joins us, he's going to talk to us about that. But that's big news, folks. That's really big news. Because, well, first of all, the people in DNC are supposed to remain neutral. And we already know that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is not neutral. We already know that the DNC is not neutral. They've certainly not acted neutral. But this, to have to do this, good afternoon. To have to do this, to quit your job as co-chair or vice chair, to go support Bernie Sanders, really makes a big statement about the DNC, makes a big statement about democracy, right? So this is huge. This is huge after the trouncing that everybody wants to talk about in South Carolina. And we're going to talk about that too. But the cover today, folks, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Bad Wolf and Robin and is it the Dr. Copperhead or, yeah, the Dr. Copperhead. Okay. Not for sale, Bernie 2016. By the way, hi, Darcy and Patty. Darcy, I need to run your video. I didn't pull it up. Today's going to be a crazy day because I have to do the newsroom and I have to get down to Corvallis. We've got some family shit to take care of. I won't be able to do streams. There may be a stream coming from, I think, Oklahoma. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I've seen some notes about that. There may be a stream coming today, but you're going to have to go find it on local news or go find it somewhere else because I'm not going to be able to bring it. And we have Super Tuesday coming up, of course. But morning, everybody. Hi, Kristen, Joe, Trisha. Wow, lots of people. Yay, good to see you. So huge news. That's huge news. Okay, I don't know what the rest of the Meet the Press interview was like. I can't run the whole thing. I ran that much of the clip. Hey, hun. Oh, that sounds funny. Hey, hun. But that's big. It's big. But I wanna put the cover back up, guys. The really cool cover made by Steph. There's a reason I put Rebel Force on here. Okay. We've been too kind. There's a reason I put Rebel Force on here. You have to we are at war. We've had censorship. We've had blatant censorship. Where the hashtag which Hillary was rising was about 460,000, and it got just scrubbed, right? We've seen this happen before. Media blackout. There was March for Bernie yesterday. 70 cities at least. Marches all around the country for Bernie Sanders. Was it covered by mainstream media? No. If it wasn't a political event, if this had been March for Cancer, okay? If it had been March for Cancer across the country and there had been 70 cities across the country where these marches were taking place, do you think it would have been covered by mainstream media? Yeah. But it was March for Bernie. Did anybody see any coverage on any mainstream media of March for Bernie? No. Matter of fact, we covered it a little bit, but not as much as we wanted to, and we're going to look at some of the slides today. Sorry, looking at your thing, making sure everything's okay. We all right? Are we all right in the feed? Everybody okay? We got 100 people watching us. Everybody okay? Yeah. All right, good. Anyway, we are being censored. America, the country. When I was growing up, I'm 46. When I was growing up in the early 80s, okay, when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, that's 82, 83, 84. My understanding was that America was the bastion of freedom, that we carried the world in our greatness, and that we did all these wonderful things in the name of democracy. And when you learn the truth, when you recognize the truth that your own country has fallen victim to the same science fiction. Literally, it is the same science fiction scenario we see all the time of a country that becomes too high on itself. It's people in power thrive on that power and become greedy and just become consumed with it, and then that becomes corrupt, and the system closes itself down, and then it starts enforcing new rules and oppressions on the people, but it does them over time, gradually over time. And then one day the people wake up and go, what the fuck has happened to our country, to our democracy? When co-chairs of the Democratic National Committee have to quit their jobs because they need to support Bernie Sanders, because they recognize that the process itself will not function correctly, does not function correctly. When your government is knowingly removing things from the web. And I say your government, I'm going to blame the executives that own the companies that work in collusion with the government. You have mainstream media organizations preaching propaganda no different than the propaganda from Nazi Germany. We are no different than Nazi Germany, folks. It's just instead of doing our damage over the course of 6 years, we did it over the course of 60. We are on the verge of losing this entire country to the oligarchy. It is scary. I am frightened. I am frightened. I did not think that at 46 I would be and listen, I'm going to make this statement, and I stare in the mirror in the morning, and I look at myself in the mirror and I go, this is really what's going on, isn't it? You're not making up a joke. You're not humoring yourself. You're not playing on your own ego, John. This is really what's happening today. You run an internet radio, Jesus. You run an internet show, an internet channel that is literally a rebel channel, gets shut down, a pirate channel, whatever you want to call it, that fights your fascist oligarchy government. America. I'm an American citizen. I am a white, privileged American citizen. I am fighting my government, the United States of America, with a group of rebels following a leader named Bernie Sanders, who is being blacked out by the establishment media. It reads like a science fiction nightmare, but it is the truth. And America needs to wake up and recognize that this is it. We don't have any choice. This is it. We either take it back or we lose it all. And I am frightened. I am frightened. Sorry, guys. I just had to. I had to do that because when you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning and you say, you are going to go live on air and you are going to call out your government. You're going to do things that had I done them 10, 20 years ago, I probably would have been arrested. Let me put it to you this way. I expect to be arrested at some point. I expect to be arrested. I may get shot. I will do whatever it takes, because this is not an election. This is a political revolution that could very easily just become a revolution if we don't fight back. Fight force with force. And I'm going to get into that a little later, but we got Scott back in the game, and I want Scott to come in and give some intelligent discussion about what it means to have Tulsi Gabbard do what she did. Hey, Scott, you back and functional? Awesome. All right, so so what does it mean? Oh, sorry. Now everybody can hear Scott. There we go. There you go. Everybody, it's Scott.
Yeah, I just heard about it from you, but it's a good sign. And now if Debbie Wasserman Schultz was honest and resigned so she could continue her work for Hillary. That would be. But instead, she works for Hillary without resigning her position.
So what would that leave the DNC? I mean, the DNC really needs to become the Hillary National Committee, right? The HNC, and then
There's some others that are. Ryback, he seems pretty fair or whatever.
is the DNC necessary? Can I just, I mean, just because I'm a complete idiot with politics, is the DNC necessary? Can we can we win an election without it? I mean, we're gonna anyway, right?
Yeah, well, you'll have the DNC if when Bernie wins the nomination, he'll have the DNC support.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure?
Well, are they going to support Trump? Let's see.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm not expecting them to do this right, to do this fair. They certainly haven't to date. So what happens? What happens when the establishment can't take Bernie? Because they can't.
Well, there's definitely some things that they've done wrong, but there has been some fight back within the DNC on some of the things. I think there are some on. Donna Brazil's really good. I haven't been able to read whether. I think there's a part of her that likes Bernie, but.
Yeah. And what about Tim Canova? I saw somebody mention Tim Canova. Yeah, Bad Wolf says Tim Canova and a couple other people. I mean, we had him on. He's a good guy, right? Do you think he could save the party, remove the corruption?
Well, he wouldn't go to. Just because he beat W. Wasserman Schultz won't make him the chair.
Oh.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
He would just be the congressperson from her district. And it'll be someone else will get elected chair that's been active for a while.
Oh. And that's why you're looking at that other person you're talking about. I guess my issue is, Scott, is that, and this is where we're coming down to for a lot of people, is that we're still trying to work within the system, but the system doesn't work. And so everywhere around us, it fails. And you're like, well, what do we do now? Do we subvert the system? How do we accomplish our goal when the system is falling apart all around us? We're not sure which part is a trap, which part is lying to us,
Well, I think there's the old saying, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And that's but Bernie's got 1 foot in now. He's running within the Democratic Party because it's the easiest route to victory. And if he tried to run independent, there would be even more of a blackout. He wouldn't have been on any stages in the debates.
No. You're right. He wouldn't have been anywhere. He would have been in the same category as O'Malley and the other guys, really.
O'Malley would have been better off. He at least got into the debates. They wouldn't have. He would have been in the same place as Nader in the past, and others that have run green, or Jill Stein. When's the last time you saw Jill Stein?
No, is she still running?
Yes, she's the Green Party candidate.
Well, she hasn't. Yeah, well, she's got zero. It all comes down to where you're going, which is airtime. It comes down to airtime on establishment networks. If you get no airtime, you don't exist.
Yeah, and that's why he decided to run as a Democrat and not
right.
independent.
It's unfortunate because he's really not a Democrat, not by the party definition at all. He's a Democrat by our definition, and there's a big difference there. But you're.
Although I want to look into something.
Yeah.
Actually, there's something about Vermont where you don't register.
Right. That was part of the controversy to begin with. That was part of the whole controversy when he was running, was that Vermont, you don't register and all this bullshit.
And because Jonathan Jackson, in his intro of Bernie in Chicago, said that Bernie was a delegate for Jesse Jackson twice. So did Bernie go to the Democratic conventions in the past?
I don't know. Yeah, well, yeah, he should. Yeah, Jesse Jackson. I'm just looking at some notes here, Scott. Some people, executive decision. Jill Stein is MIA. Robin Morris. Joel Scott talks slowly but carries a big camera. But somebody said in here, where was it? That yeah, Sean Pony says she got arrested the other day, Jill Stein, for protesting a bank. So maybe that's why we haven't seen her around. She's been really. What?
Okay.
Tulsi Gabbard is obviously not hopping on the bandwagon now because Bernie had a huge loss. Well, I guess what you're saying there is the fact that she did it now proves that she's just not doing it to feel the burn. I mean, look, feeling the burn certainly isn't the in thing to do. It is with the people, but it certainly isn't if you want to keep your fat paycheck with the establishment. You know? But yeah, so I agree with you there. Jill Stein for Department of Energy. Some Think It Through says Warren is starting to smell like a sellout. What do you think about that?
Well, it's kind of strategically, I understand what she's doing. She doesn't want to anger either side, and so if she's going to continue to be the most powerful senator, then she's going to need to be able to work with whoever wins. So I think that's why she's staying on the fence.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense for me as well. Let's all right. So here's the deal. So we got anything else you want to tell us about this? Anything that it means strategically? I mean, it's good for Bernie, right? Do you want to talk a little bit about what?
I don't know a ton about her. Let's see.
What?
I don't know a ton about her, or Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know.
But strategically, I mean, just what in terms of what it means, the media is going to try to bury it, but it is a huge announcement, right?
Yeah, it'll be good PR. They'll be able to put an ad out with their.
Yeah. Well, that's what it takes. It takes ads. So what about South Carolina? What do you want to tell everybody about South Carolina?
I think it was the one state that had the worst demographics for Democrats, or for Bernie, because let's face it, he didn't do well with African Americans, and a majority of Democrats in South Carolina are African Americans. That's not the case in that many other places, and so we got to move on from that. As long as we don't, if a blowout like that in Texas would be devastating.
There's no way. Not with the crowds we're seeing in Texas. There's no way that's going to happen. If it's going to be a blowout, it's going to be a blowout the other way in Texas, and that's what I think we're going to see. The South Carolina. Here's the couple factors, folks. 12% of South Carolina decided to get off their ass and vote. So not, to the out of that, to the folks that voted for Bernie, cheers. To the folks that got
that 12% of the Democrats.
It was, I think that's what it was. 12% of the Democrats got up to vote. Much larger, obviously, portion of the Republican group got up to vote. But that's historically. So guys, when establishment media goes, look at how many more Republicans got up to vote than Democrats. That happens every year in South Carolina, right, Scott?
It's a red state. It's not Democrats never win South Carolina.
Okay, there you go. And, low voter turnout is what you expect in one of the states doing worst in just about everything. It's oppressed. You've got a lot of poor, a lot of minorities, a lot of disenfranchised human beings. I wouldn't expect them to give a shit about the government either. Right. So we move on. It's strategically.
Yeah, I think the Super Tuesday states like Alabama and Mississippi are going to be not fertile places for Bernie. But but North Carolina, Virginia, places like that, it'll do better. They're not
right
majority African American.
Right, and I think we give the African American community more time to see who Bernie is, right? Because the ones that are still just plugged directly into the propaganda machine are only getting one side of the story anyway. And for some reason that we need to reach them with remember the '90s. Really, it just
remember was 52 delegates, I think, and 50-something delegates in South Carolina. It wasn't a lot of delegates
No, it wasn't.
up for state. So there really hasn't been a state where there's been a lot of delegates up yet. That will change Tuesday, and we'll
Right.
see what happens on Tuesday.
What
Where I
did-
think Bernie can win Massachusetts, win Minnesota, win Oklahoma, win Colorado, win Vermont. And if he's just strong in Texas, then they'll come out of Super Tuesday pretty even.
So you're thinking, what is it? 10? Is it 10
11.
states? 11 states, and you think they're going to come out like 5 and 6, 6 and 5, something like that? Are they predicting the same on mainstream, or are they saying it's going to be a Hillary rout?
Well, I think the last poll I saw on MSNBC had Hillary up 6 in Massachusetts. But the polls before that had WBUR or something, one of the local TV stations came up with Hillary up 6. And
That doesn't sound right.
but the one before that was tied.
Right.
And then there were a couple with Bernie ahead.
Well, I don't know the exact. Janine just put a message in here. Bernie should be a superdelegate as senator, congressman from Vermont. As a senator, congressman, Bernie should be a super.
Right, but was he in? What I was wondering, was he in '88 and 9?
Oh, was he in '88?
84.
Good question. Hi, Janine. Morning.
That's what Jonathan Jackson indicated. He endorsed his father and was a delegate for his father.
Okay.
So that all this argument that he's not a Democrat, if he was going to the Democratic convention in '84 and '88, then he was a Democrat.
Okay. So I think
Just like Patrick Leahy is, I guess, not a registered Democrat.
Right.
Because of being from Vermont.
Right. That interesting Vermont rule. Just a couple notes, folks, and I know Janine has said something in production environment about this. She said to me, sorry about the last couple of days. Stuff on the East Coast is going absolutely insane for Bernie Sanders in the ground game. And I don't know exactly what that means, but she says that there is no way Hillary will win Massachusetts, in my opinion. That is the media trying to change the outcome. And I can't read what the rest of this. Change the outcome of the vote. I'm not sure. In '88, he might have been a Democrat, she's saying. So listen, guys, Janine is there. The reason we haven't had Janine around, and the reason why BTV is kind of running crappy because I'm doing it, and Janine has been busy with more important things like Bernie Sanders on the East Coast, and she is right there, okay? And she knows what's going on, and so I tell you, you're going to see some incredible shit on Super Tuesday. Massachusetts will not go to Hillary Clinton, and the pundits are going to have to make some changes in their statements. Or not. They can lie. What?
Sticks with Bernie, and I know west of Iowa definitely seems fertile for Bernie. Like Nebraska, tons of people come in from Nebraska to work for Bernie in Iowa.
Yep. Lou's one of them.
Yeah.
Lou left. Lou was one of our guys helping us here. He's from Nebraska for Bernie. And he had said, guys, I got to go. I got to leave. I got to go do some work. Right.
Yeah.
So we know, and we know what's happening, folks. And Janine just put in the most important part. And this is what I was really getting to. And then we're going to watch Tim Black. Tim Black's going to get you off your ass. Tim Black's going to motivate you to understand what's going on here. There are no easy revolutions. This is not a revolution that will be won sitting on the couch. It will not be won playing Sony Xbox or whoever makes Xbox. Boy, that made me old. It will not be won doing anything other than getting off your ass, voting, motivating others to vote, working the ground game, getting on the phone. We have two choices. We have three choices. Choice one really is to work this as hard as we can through the system, elect the people we want, including Bernie Sanders, and change our government the proper way. That's what we're all hoping for here. We're all hoping for that, because that would mean that we've done our jobs in our democracy. We woke up, we recognized what needed to happen, we fought the corruption, we removed the corruption through the political process, through our actual democratic process. We fixed the errors. That's going to take a long time. That is the hardest way to go. It is the most righteous way to go, but it's the hardest way to go. The second option is that we subvert the system because we're not able to win through the democratic process. And that means revolution. That means fighting with force. That's not my favorite choice, but I will do that if I have to, because I will not let my nation stay under an oligarchy for another 4 years. I won't do it. I will rise, I will arm myself, and I will go attack my government, because I will not see an establishment government continue to rule here. Okay? We are at war. This is a revolution. This is not an election cycle. We are fighting to save America. It is time to wake up and get tough. Bernie Sanders offers us a way through the voting process, but we have to get up and vote. We have to show up and vote. 12% of South Carolina isn't showing up to vote. The third option we have, folks, is to lay down, is to give up, is to let the establishment do what they will. And there's a good percentage of America that already has. They don't vote. They don't give a shit. They assume that all of these big ideas, everything that Bernie is talking about, is just impossible. And they are misinformed. We have to win. We have to win. I want a planet to live on. We're not going to have one soon. Anybody who thinks this is about smaller issues needs to remember that our planet is dying, and the oligarchy has done nothing to fix this. They have worked with the company that knew our planet was dying 40 years ago. They have worked with that company to suppress that knowledge from the people. They are now censoring the net already, scrubbing our social engagement on the net to hide information from us. Yet those of you voting for Hillary Clinton don't recognize that she is part of that establishment. We are fighting the American government. I am an American citizen. I am a rebel. I am technically a traitor to my government right now. I could be arrested right now. So could Scott. So could Janine. So could everybody that is participating in this political revolution, because we are anti-establishment government. We are anti-government. I am against the American government as it stands right now. And everybody who is voting for Bernie Sanders needs to rise up and recognize that that is what we are doing. This is a rebel force, and we are at war. This is not an election. Let's see what Tim Black has to say about it.
Whoa, hold up, guys, hold up. I'm Tim Black. I got to talk to you for a minute. It's come to my attention that some of you Bernie Sanders supporters thought that this was going to be easy. Yeah, you thought we were going to come in here and just knock Hillary out. You know, just knock down the Clinton machine like it was nothing. Like, get out of here, Hillary. Get out of here, Bill Clinton. Get out of here, cronyism. Get out of here, people on the payroll. Get out of here, people on the Clinton tick for 20 years. Get out of here, DNC. Get out of here. Don't work that way. What we're trying to do is a revolution, and revolutions are hard. You get it? So I need you to buckle in. Are you in this thing or not, man? Are you in it or not? Are you in this for the duration? So that means when you hit a rough patch, you don't take your ball and go home. No. It means that's when you dust yourself off. You focus and you get recommitted to what we're doing. You get more in tune with the message. Because here's the thing, guys. The message works. You know how I know it works? Hillary has stolen it. She beat us with our message. She is now a fighter for civil rights. She beat us with our message. The woman who was married to the president, who locked up more black people than slavery, beat us on civil rights. Y'all don't hear me though. I said, the woman married to the president who locked up more black people than slavery beat us on civil rights. So, it's crazy. You have to get prepared for a long battle. This will not be easy. No one said it was going to be easy. It's going to be hard. But you know what? It ain't over. It ain't over. You know why it's not over? Because there's still ground left to take. There's still more hills to climb. And check this out. Bernie Sanders says, hey, she won here. We won in New Hampshire. See you on Super Tuesday. I need you guys to be thinking the same way. And I need you not to turn on one another. You know what I'm talking about. All my white friends, my light-skinned friends out there. Right? My white friends. Look, don't turn on black folks. Don't do it. They voted for who they knew. Sidebar. All right? When you go to the store, the average person who goes to the supermarket, right? Horrible equation, but I got to use it. You go to the supermarket, you're going to pick out some cereal, right? How often do you pick out cereal you never heard of before? I mean, how often? Probably not often. You probably pick up what you know. That's all black women did in South Carolina. That's it. They picked up what they knew. The Clintons. That's what they know. We did not do a good enough job educating them and informing them to the beauty of our platform, to what we had to offer. We ain't hit enough eyeballs. We didn't hit enough eardrums. We need more people telling the story. We need more people sharing. We need more. That's all. But know this. We are doing a phenomenal job. We just need to increase it. We need to do it more. That's it. Also, don't turn on older people either. Okay? Don't do it. 68% of the voters today were over the age 45. Bernie Sanders does better with younger people. So those are some facts, okay? All right. Should we be down? No. Be a little disappointed. That's fine. You're a human being. Be like, oh. Then get yourself together and let's go to work. Because you know what? We got a country to save. We got a world to fix, to make better. And we're not going to do that, what? Waiting on Hillary Clinton to change her mind to become a real carer of the world. That ain't going to happen. So we really don't have a choice, you and I. You can either unplug and say, I don't care no more, and go and be miserable for 4 years, or maybe even 8. Or you can give it all you got, baby. Right? All you got. I'm going to be in that second group. Because I don't just say hashtags. I believe in them. We are one. Feel the burn. America together. I truly believe in it if you do too. Continue to do what you do. My name is Tim Black. Stay in there, hang in there. The fight is worth it. Keep fighting. Shout out to everybody on Facebook. All my burners, all my burner supporters out there across the globe. Even people in Switzerland, Australia, and my friend in Singapore. Feel the burn, baby. I'm pumped up still.
I love Tim Black. That's Tim Black And he gets me pumped up. I saw somebody ask, I was reading some of your comments, guys. And he said, Tim said the truth really plainly, clearly, and that is, don't give up. SC's one place. We need more people. Okay, make sure my TARDIS door is shut. We need more people. The whole goal of this movement is to reach as many people as we can, folks, in however many ways we can. And that brings us to this point. Somebody saying you're preaching to the choir. I get it. I realize that outside of some trolls, I probably don't have any Hillary Clinton people watching this show. I'd love to have Hillary Clinton people watching this show, but I don't think we do. I would love to engage them in a discussion, but they're not here. They're not gonna be here. Let me tell you why. The people that we need to reach, aren't on the internet. They're not watching YouTube. These people are at home connected to mainstream cable media. They get their news from the establishment. They're used to getting their news from the establishment. They don't understand that it's the establishment. These are people that are still bamboozled. They don't recognize that the United States government is not the government they think it is. They don't understand that our government is the oppressive regime that they hear people talk about in other countries on establishment media networks. It's the biggest lie, the biggest bamboozle ever created, is that the United States is the oppressor. And to reach these people, folks, we have to bring them to the net, or we have to take the net to them. These pieces of truth. So I'm here. What am I doing here? I ask myself that every day. What are you doing here, John? What is your goal? You bring people together to have a conversation, and everybody in the conversation pretty much agrees with what we're talking about here, gets angry together, frustrated together, motivated together, we're passionate together. But what's the point? The point is to bring Bernie Sanders to the web, to be a hub, to be a place of amplification for the revolution. But in order for this place, Bernie 2016 TV, to be effective, I need your help in taking the video, cutting them into smaller pieces, delivering them to people who wouldn't necessarily be looking for them. Bring people to the web, bring people to this medium, help people who are disconnected from the truth to see the truth. That is how we will lose this war, is by not being able to reach everybody we need to reach. It's like we're handing out pamphlets of truth. And if we can't get those flyers to every door, people are going to remain ignorant and they're going to vote against themselves. Just like we saw in South Carolina, 12% of the people stood up. You know, if we could reach, and that was in the Democratic side of things, if we could reach those people that are disconnected, we could take back this nation. And the establishment media knows this. They're counting on this. What's going on with Jimmy Flanagan? I don't know. Chris L., I haven't looked at the Dan Rather video. I'll look for it after this. Thanks, David. I don't know what kind of a leader I'm going to be. Right now, I was saying, I wake up in the morning and I go, what are you? Are you the voice of the revolution? Are you some crazy unemployed dude who has some technology and wanted to hang out here and do a show? No, what I am is a 46-year-old guy who had no idea he was going to be spending 7 days a week from the time I wake up to the time I fall asleep at night working on saving my own country, the country I grew up thinking was the greatest nation on earth. Right? My country has probably done more directly to destroy this planet through its collusion with Exxon, other fossil fuel companies, corporate media. America has done more damage to this planet as a whole than any other nation in the history of the world. And for some reason, I feel very responsible for that. We all should. And we need to do something drastic about it. So the point I'm going there, and we're going to talk about the March for Bernie and all of that and the fact that it was a media blackout here in a second. I want to look at some of the pictures, what happened with March for Bernie. But the media blackout truly concerns me. I was talking about what we need to do more, bringing people to this media, cutting this media up. Those of you who are editors, creators, writers, it doesn't matter what you are, you use the web. If you can write a blog about this news program and share it with somebody, share it via email with those who do not go to the web. If you can chop this video up into segments and share different pieces, go to Tim Black, take his videos off of his website and share them with people. We have to reach. I do this with my dad. I'm like, Dad, here's a video. Share this with all your friends who do not go to the web. Because they'll look at an email and they'll click on a link and go to the web because they clicked on the link and they'll watch, but they won't engage in that process themselves. They won't open a browser, go to YouTube, look for the video. So just that simple act of sharing the content, sharing small chunks of content, 3 to 5 minute chunks, not big long things, right? 3 to 5 minute chunks of information, whatever it happens to be. Piece from Robert Reich, piece from the Bernie Sanders website, piece from Tim Black, piece from our website, any of it. Just anything that has testimony about Bernie Sanders, about what's going on. That's what we need to do, is get this into the hands. It's literally like we are running around with oxygen masks. Our planet is on fire, and all we have to do is get these people to open their doors so we can stick the mask in their face. That's what we have to do. It's a pain in the ass, but it's what we have to do. And I'm going to get to my main point here, and we'll talk about. Thank you guys, really appreciate it. I know I'm not really paying as much attention to the. I know I'm not alone. That's why we're all here. Thank you, Jesse. I'm not paying as much attention to the comments today because I'm really ranty because I'm upset. I'm upset about the status of where things are at for us. I'm upset at where the status of things are at technology-wise in our streams. I can't even begin to tell you what's going on there. I can't even begin to tell you. I'm so frustrated. But this is a war. This is a war. I'm going to say one thing before I talk about what I said about. Okay, get back. Anybody know what Market Garden was? Scott. You know what Market Garden was? Okay, it's an obscure reference to a military engagement from World War II. And oh, they can't hear you anyway. Here, there we go. Now you can hear Scott. So I asked Scott.
It's something to do with World War II. Let's see.
There you go. Market Garden was General Montgomery's failed giant military exercise. All right. And nobody talks about Market Garden. Everybody talks about D-Day. Right. Everybody talks about how great D-Day was. D-Day was Eisenhower's big deal. And it worked, but it barely worked. Okay. D-Day, wasn't D-Day today gets painted as this beautiful thing. We went over there, we kicked ass. Well, a lot of people died. It was a big, horrific thing, what we had to do there. So it wasn't just a walk in the park. But Market Garden, folks, was kind of like South Carolina. It was a tremendous loss. It was an absolute failure. It was General Montgomery's big exercise. He needed a big engagement. This was the British force thing, and I don't have all the details of it, but I can tell you is that Market Garden did not succeed, and we don't talk about it. So we have these failures like this, big, giant failures that we don't know what to do with, but we move on because we're not done with the war. I mean, think about that. If we'd landed at D-Day and we're like, well, D-Day was mostly successful. We had these problems over here and over here. And then we do Market Garden, and Market Garden's a giant failure. If we had stopped, if Eisenhower and Montgomery and everybody had been like, well, fuck it. That didn't work. I guess we'll just lay down. That's where we're at right now, folks. We can't lay down. We have an oppressive regime to fight, and we can't just lay down. A Bridge Too Far, movie A Bridge Too Far. Yeah, there you go. Actually, if you want a quick reference in Market Garden, just watch Band of Brothers, which you should watch anyway. just because it's a really beautifully done version of history. And you see some of the original guys. It's just amazing stuff. If you haven't watched it, watch Band of Brothers. It'll rip your guts out. What I want, okay, so we talk about the blackout in media yesterday about the March for Bernie, and I wish we had Ryan Lavacek in here to really talk about it with us. But I just want to make this statement right now. When I talk about cutting out pieces of video clip, I want you to cut out this clip right here. Okay, starting right here. I would like to open up a conversation by some means securely with Anonymous or Occupy, both, don't care, whatever. I know that the technology exists for us to hack into primetime television. And I think for this revolution, we need to hack into primetime television and post a message that reaches all of Americans. I'm not talking about a mean message. I'm just talking about a message of information that says, hello, America. This is the rebel force. We are acting independently on behalf of saving America. The establishment media and establishment government is a lie. Please go to the internet and seek truth. Something to that extent. I want to hijack it. I don't want to do anything damaging to their systems. I don't want to do anything harmful to their technology. I just want to jump on their airwaves. And here's my justification for that. They seem to think that they can come on anytime they want and enforce DMCA copyright law on political speech. They can come on anytime they want and scrub the net of our effort to rise a hashtag in social interest. They control the media, and that is not okay. So I say we use our technology and our ability, and we hijack Primetime Network and deliver a message to America that needs to be delivered. And I would like to work with anybody in that capacity. So there's my message. Please, I know we can. I know we can. We're just tapping into satellite. It's not that hard, guys. It's not that hard. Okay. So I know we can do it.
Really quick, I don't know what kind of media work, advanced media work was done for the March for Bernie. But for example, I didn't know about it until today, pretty much, or last night, I think. And one thing that we have to do better on the left is informing the media in advance of things. I've been at events where people complaining the media is not here, and I've asked who sent out press releases, and it's nobody. They think that the media is just going to discover everything that's happening on their own. There's too much happening in the world. You gotta work the media to get media.
Maybe. I don't know about that. I don't know if I fully agree with that. If the media were about actually covering what was going on, and
there's a lot going on, they can't be everywhere. You got to make your case to them that this is a big event.
But a march of thousands of people down the streets of a major city isn't just noticed by hey, look out your window, News 4. There's a shit ton of people on the street. I mean, at some point, come on. The journalists
was assigned to do in the morning meeting, and if you didn't get your press release in and get on their agenda for that day, then you're not going to get coverage. We got to do better at getting on their agenda.
Okay. You work in the field. I mean, you're out there. You're there trying to cover the news, and you're reader-supported news. You're accredited and all that stuff. But I don't know that us trying to get in their face is going to do anything. I just don't think they care.
They have a meeting at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning where they send out their assignments for the day. If you're not in those assignments, you're not getting covered.
So the March for Bernie, I mean,
beforehand.
So this March for Bernie thing has been going on. I mean, they've been organizing this thing for a while. You mean to tell me that through all this time, press release? I guess what I'm saying is
that's what I don't know that.
Right.
But I see that it happens a lot where people think that just the media is just going to show up. You got to inform the media that it's happening.
I would agree with that if it were a single event in a single city. but happening across 70 cities across the United States with the hashtag March for Bernie. It's happened before. We're in the middle of a political cycle. To me, that just says blackout. That doesn't say we're not doing our job getting the information to the media. That says media knows it's going on, doesn't want to cover it. But that's just me. That's just me. I think
they could have sent press releases, but if they didn't send press releases out, then they're not going to get covered. That's the reality of.
What constitutes a press release to you?
Announcement of the event.
Where does it have to be?
When, where, and why.
Where does it have to be? Where does that announcement have to be?
What's that?
Where does that announcement have to be? What is it when it's announced on Facebook as an event?
News desks at media organization.
Well, fuck. Here's my statement. Fuck you, news desk. Fuck you. The information's out there. It's called the social web. It's called the internet. You want to know where the news is? Go to the fucking internet. Fuck you and your news wire and having deliver it to the news desk. I don't agree with that at all. Journalism today should be about proactive engagement on the social web, not, well, a pigeon didn't drop off a piece of paper on my desk letting me know that there were some people doing something today. I mean, that's literally what you're telling me, that it has to be delivered to the bullshit. That's the old way. But see, that's what we're fighting. And I'm not arguing against you about it, Scott. I'm saying that's the old way of journalism. And it doesn't work that way. The new way of journalism, where we are the media. If you want it, get it. It's there. If the media were designed to actually serve the people and not serve the establishment government, if it wasn't designed for profit, it would be a completely different situation. In every local city, they'd be covering what was going on for real, not looking for a feel-good story at the end of their fucking ratings hour. You know, I'm just saying there's so many issues there. I don't think it comes down to us making sure we get a fucking press release on the news desk. I have a hard time with that.
They're getting dozens, maybe 100 a day. They're sifting through and having to send out their camera crews just to.
Well, so why? I guess that's another send out camera crews.
Send the crew.
Send a dude with a smartphone. You know, that's another thing, is that they've got these massive expense on these crews, right? With these trucks and all this bullshit. It's like they're not designed to operate in the mobile age. You know,
that's changing. There's less, like the CNN, MSNBC, and them. They don't have the big cameras anymore. They have the more what used to look like the consumer pro cams are what they
right.
have at events now.
Right. Smaller with units like the solo unit from LiveView that we're hoping to get and work with.
Oh, they still have the LU 500. They don't skimp on that. They have the bigger unit.
Of course. No, they have the bigger units and stuff, but I mean, they're equipping more people with the smaller, just the smartphone with the app, you know, and stuff like. I mean, like what we try to use with the LU Smart system, and when you've got good connectivity, it works fine. Storing that stuff up in there. I
think what we're seeing is the older cameramen retire. They're not getting replaced by someone who carries the big camera. They're getting replaced by someone carrying a smaller camera now.
Yeah, right. I'm just saying media needs to be more responsive. The ability to go live with a breaking news story shouldn't be limited to, do I have a camera crew? It can be changed to, there's somebody. I mean, and this is the whole point of the LU Smart app, you know, by LiveView. And the reason it's not working, but it is in beta. It works. It just works limitedly. But this is the whole point of the application, would be to say, if say we were Channel 4, right? And there's a guy on live right now, and he's got LU Smart, and he could be a contract reporter. Now, I know contract reporters exist, Scott, like you are one, right? You're a contract reporter. Yeah. But basically the guy's there, NBC News is like, or whoever it is, says, can you film it for us? They send him an ad hoc license. This is a license that's sent immediately to the phone. that means that this guy can record, and now he's sending his data up to Channel 4's cloud where they can grab it and push it out to the web in real time or near real time. Okay. These systems exist. We're trying to use one right now. We had hoped that it would work better than it did for us and for our reporters, but we're still limited by the bandwidth. We're limited by what we can upstream from the phone. And that's why the bigger units like the LU-500 are there to equip citizen journalists. And there's a smaller unit that we're going to get called the Solo, which is really small. And that is that combines, that should resolve everything, right? I've probably said it 1,000 times, but really, I just want to, somewhere here I see this, John, he is right. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? I see this up here. Agreed, it's Reagan's fault. Mary Wallace says, yeah, but it's a fact, John. Really, what's a fact? I don't know what we're talking about. I lost the comments here. It's you want to just say, Reagan, get off my lawn. I don't recall letting you on my lawn. I do a terrible Ronald Reagan. It used to be so much better.
Pretty good.
Oh, thank you. My brother, guys, my brother does the best impersonations. He was always so much better. You could do Reagan. Anyway, yeah, there you go. You get off my lawn. Where I was really going with all of that, folks, okay, is that regardless of why, whether it's we need to get our information in the hands of the media onto their news desk, or they just don't give a shit, the bottom line is we're not getting our message into the hands of Americans that are not on the internet. And somebody made a statement, I saw it fly by earlier, that I thought was great, and that is we need to take our cell phones, go to our grandparents, go to our parents, whoever it is disconnected, say, watch this. Just sit down and shut up and watch this 5 minutes of Bernie Sanders. Watch this 5 minutes of Tim Black. Just watch. We could do more that way. You know? What's up, Scott?
I'm fine.
Oh, all right. Look like you want to weigh in on something there. Here's the headline. We'll go here. And then we'll look at the March for Bernie. So this is U.S. Uncut. And media blackout as thousands of Bernie Sanders supporters march in 45 cities. This says 45 cities. There's one now. The tweet there says in over 70 cities. We had Ryan Lavacek put together a slide deck here full of lovely slides of some of the scenes. I don't know exactly where all of this is happening, folks, but this is all across the nation. This isn't an election. This is a political revolution. Right now, it's one that hasn't gone to violence, hasn't needed to go to violence yet. And we hope to keep it that way. But we are being oppressed, actively oppressed. Our news is being oppressed. The people we need to reach are not being reached. And with this kind of stuff, that looks like a Capitol building, okay? I'm sorry. If you're a news agency and you're not aware and you need if you really need a press release to know that there's a mob of people sitting on some steps of some Capitol building somewhere, then what it really means is you don't want to cover it. You're not interested in covering that news. You don't want the rest of the people in the United States of America to know that there's a political revolution happening. This is not stuff people do just for fun, okay? This is the changing of our country. We hope to do it peacefully. But all of those signs being held up right now by all of these smiling people who feel the burn can easily be replaced with guns if we have to take over our government. Let's just get meaner. Let's just get smarter. Let's just get stronger so that we can use the system as it is to win. But they're already fighting dirty, folks. They're already using tactics that we wouldn't use. And so when I make calls to work with Anonymous and Occupy to find ways to subvert their propaganda machine, I do it because we are at war. Lot of marches. The pictures just go on and on. On and on. John, let the dark side in. Listen, Susan, this is not, I stop the violence talk. I want people to understand that we are fighting a government that has already used violence against us. It is violent stop the violence. I tell you what, I would love to. Let's stop the violence of police officers abusing minorities, abusing anybody they feel like across the country. Let's stop the violence of our government supplying weapons of war around the world to murder children. Let's stop the violence of homeless people dying in the streets, of veterans without care. I'd love to stop the violence, and we may need to use violence to do it because our government has been violently oppressive. So yeah, I would love to stop the violence. And I'm going to talk about acts that we may need to commit because our government has already been horrifically violent against us, against me. Wake up, America. We are being oppressed. We are being attacked. We are being lied to. Those of you who think this is just a simple election, you are ignoring the harsh truth that we have had so many rights taken away. We don't remember what real freedom is. Everything I've just said, I should be free to say. And I may need to defend it. And I will use violence to defend my words any day. Martin Luther King made a lot of change. Martin Luther King had to engage in acts of civil disobedience, and our government was violent against him. And Bernie Sanders being shackled and put in jail, okay? Acts of civil disobedience. Maybe that's a better word to use. But it's not disobedience when you are the government and you are fighting your government. That's not disobedience. That is standing up for your rights, standing up and saying, excuse me, you work for me. My government, our government, our will. I love Trump's hate. You're absolutely right. Love Trump's hate. We need to separate, folks, the difference between people and actions. Love the people, but act. Love the people, but act. Loving the people doesn't mean being passive. Jesus walked into the temple with a bunch of people selling shit, and he got pissed and tossed shit around and knocked some people around. He loved the people, but he acted with balls. Do not mistake love for passivity. If you love this country, then you will act with passion to fix it in whatever means is necessary. Do not mistake. Sorry, guys. There's a lot of things going on in the background, a lot of things with Bernie 2016 TV, a lot of things with trying to get stuff done with money, with laws, with everything that are part of this. We're fighting so much. I shouldn't even have to exist. We shouldn't have to exist to get our political message out. That should tell you there's something different. I didn't mean for this to get so negative, folks. I just want everybody to understand that we have to do more, and that this isn't a basic election. It's not a basic election. How long can we afford to stay peaceful? I don't know. I don't know. Do not mistake nonviolent protest for passivity. You're right. I don't. But at some point, nonviolent protest, when all that happens is you get arrested, put in jail, fined, and the people that were doing nonviolent protests now owe money to the establishment. At what point does nonviolent protest cease to have any value, right? I really think we just had nonviolent protests all across the country that was blacked out by mainstream media. Nonviolent protests that had very little effect because the propaganda machine ignored it. You cannot fight this war like we fought previous wars. We have a completely different machine today. We have a completely different media today. What Martin Luther King did in the 60s would not work today because we have a different media machine. We have a completely militarized police force. We have a media machine and police force that work in collusion with our corrupt government. We have a very different system today. We are fighting a much bigger, much scarier, much more asshole machine than Martin Luther King had to fight. So I'm sorry, you cannot look at them in the same way, folks. That machine that Martin Luther King fought in the 60s has been left to fester and grow. And it is far worse today, far worse than it was. I'm just reading your comments. MLK or Gandhi of that? Maybe not. Gandhi lit himself on fire in an act of disobedience. Okay? I don't advocate that either. All right? My goal is to take action and get shit done. Take action and get shit done. All right? And at some point, and I just want to remind everybody who thinks that talking about violence is inappropriate or talking about doing this and that or passivity. Do you remember how this country started? Anybody want to go back and look at the fucking history books at how we started America, why we started America, and what we did to make America America? If you're not willing to do the same again, sit down. If you're not willing to stand and die for your country, sit down. Go watch establishment TV. I'm here to save my nation. I'd love to continue to do it in a passive manner. But as our government continues to oppress, and as we come closer and closer to the conclusion that's going to be, we will not allow the establishment to run this nation any longer, we face the harsh reality of having to go against our government forcibly, physically. And when you have a completely militarized police force, good luck with sitting in. When you get blacked out by your media, good luck with marching across the country. I'm not putting it down. I'm not saying it's not working. I'm just saying it's being blacked out. It's being ignored by the people in America we need to reach. Things are not the same as they were in the 60s. They are worse. Far, far, far worse. Right, Jan? I almost went to, well, yeah. This newsroom has gotten off track. I'm pissed off. The things that have been happening in the news, the things that have been happening with establishment media, the blackout on our effort to change our nation. We are a rebel force. We have to think that way. We have to act that way. I am not in any way. I just want to make something clear here. I want everybody to remember that I am not in any way, this channel is not in any way connected with the actual Bernie campaign. Anything that comes out of my mouth is my opinion alone and has nothing to do with the official campaign whatsoever. I am not advocating for anybody to do anything against what the campaign proper asks you to do. I am simply voicing my opinion as an angry American who is tired of the shit and thinks it's time we act with force. Bernie Sanders has raised a force, us, to do the work, but we have to do it smarter. We have to do more of it. We have to keep going. And I'm looking for ways personally, I am looking for ways with this channel and technology to subvert the system. I want to take over, hijack the propaganda machine. That's my personal endeavor, has nothing to do with Bernie Sanders' campaign. I want to deliver a message on prime time so that the people wake the fuck up. I feel that we need to do that. I feel that times are that drastic. I feel alone that we are this close to becoming violent with our government. These are my opinions, and I'm glad that I can share them with you, and I'm glad that we can have discourse about them. And I apologize if I've offended anybody, but this is how I feel about this country. I am tired of the slow, zero change. I am 46, and I have seen this country not really change all that much, just get worse. Those of you who are my age or older, you know, we're not going to fix it with a remote control. We're not going to fix it with a video game. We are not going to fix it watching television. We are going to fix it by getting off our asses and recognizing when the system has failed to listen. We have to rattle the cage, and sometimes we're going to cause some damage to get that system to listen. Maybe that's all I'm saying, and I'm trying to figure out what that rattling is. March Across America. We had it happen twice. We've had two of these, 2 marches for Bernie. Both were ignored. 2 of them. I can't even run the other clips I was going to run. I just can't. They're not even relevant. I'm sorry, guys. I really wanted to be a lot more of a trooper here. I wanted to be more of a positive note. I wanted to be, carry on, and I am carry on. But I think it's time we all recognize that this isn't just an election and that we're going to have to do some dirty work, some stuff that's going to feel really uncomfortable, some stuff that's going to make us go, Jesus. You know? I might go to jail for this. I probably will go to jail for this. I'm going to have to go to jail for this. I'm going to have to fight my government directly to show it that I'm tired of the shit. My main point was that we have to get smarter about what we're doing with our media. If we can't reach America, if we can't reach the people that are disconnected, we can't bring them to vote. And if we can't bring them to vote, we don't win. Voters have to show up. 12% of the Democratic vote showing up from South Carolina is absolute shit. We have to show up to vote. We have to reach those people. And if the corporate media is blocking our message, failing to provide a message, our message, the people's message to the people, then we have to take drastic measures to reach those people. Let's figure out what those measures are. I don't know what they are. I'm just going to run the thing we already know, folks. That the revolution will not be televised. It will be streamed, and we may need to hack Primetime to deliver the message. But the revolution will not be televised unless we act forcibly. Feel the burn.
be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still life of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry armed women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
Huge